All right, good evening, everyone. I would like to call the Village of Lannon Village Board meeting to order on Monday, June 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remove your headgear.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a reminder, if you please silence your cell phones if you haven't already done so. Item number 3, roll call.
Blake, here, Calico, Roby, here, Newman,
Here.
Moore, here, Grenier, here, Summers,
Here.
Yates.
Here. Statement of public notice.
That's what we posted.
Discussion and possible action on the reading, correction, and approval of the minutes from 5/13/24 Village Board meeting. Care to make that?
I understand.
Okay.
I'm concerned about item number 9 during my interview, where it says that if I was supporting legal action from the water group, took action against the village. I'm unaware, I did not, and I'm unaware of the water group taking any action against the village. So I don't think that's correct. Second issue is trustee Lake feels that those people were misled and lost out. Were you talking about me misleading them or someone else? Because I'm unaware of myself misleading anyone. And I don't know if you've got any factual evidence of that.
It wasn't
I don't-
specific, I don't
Yeah.
think. It was just a statement.
You're not mentioned in that sentence.
Yeah, but I'm in the previous paragraph or sentence. So I just wanted to make that very clear that if it was me, it's not factual. And if it's somebody else, well, that's fine. I'm not aware of it.
Did you just put that into tonight's record then, Brenda, or do
Yeah.
you amend the minutes or?
I
How
mean,
does
maybe,
that
maybe
get
we can
handled?
say something that was a statement of opinion and not verified fact, and I would be okay with,
Okay.
you know, making that clarification. That it was simply opinion and without proof.
Do we have any other comments or corrections that anyone noticed for the minutes?
On number 30, I noticed that Overstone, we need to correct that
Spelling.
spelling. It's the third line. TID funds could be used to pay for Overstone.
Overtone.
Yeah.
Wait, which number?
30.
Number 30. Oh, okay, yep. I see that.
It was.
Any other corrections or comments that have been noticed? No, I would entertain a motion then if someone cared to.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes with the correction.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments?
I did just notice that there is no parks and beautification report. I'm assuming that's because I submit that separately.
So it's attached.
So it's attached. Okay, gotcha. That's fine. I'm in agreement.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6. I guess we'll run through these for the ones that we do have established, committee chairs, finance personnel,
We'll cover number 24.
legislative. It's gonna be new, Parks Rec, beautification.
Painting of the building is scheduled for August 12th, and other, work after that. I'm meeting this Friday to update, additional work for the garage so that we can take advantage of the Lions generous offer to do some work on that building, but I want to do some carpentry to it first and then, talk to, the Lions about maybe making it a summer project to put paint on it after that's repaired. That's all I have.
Did you want to discuss the earlier item you were mentioning?
Yeah.
Or no?
I think I should. I think I should bring it up and see if we want to make it an agenda item. I did get, a citizen comment. I'm not even gonna really call it a complaint, but I did get a citizen comment, and because I'm fairly new to the board, I didn't know how to answer it. So I wanted to bring it up to the board as a whole. The Village of Landon and our staff spend, time, equipment, and fuel to mow both the vacant lot across the street from the village hall here and the entirety of Hallquist Stone area that's used for the car show. And the question was, why do we do that? We're trying to reduce hours on our employees, which are consistently overrunning what they're supposed to be doing. I said, gosh, I don't know. I will bring that up at a board meeting. And we can talk about that. It seems to me that the sole purpose of mowing all of Hallquist's land, and let's think that Hallquist has enough money to mow their own land, is because they have agreed to let us use, and when I say us, I mean the organizers of the car show have their car show there, which I'm all for, except it's not really an official village event. And yet the village pays all year round to have it mowed and maintained at our expense. So I wanted to bring up the idea of just discussing that. I know that the car show brings a lot of benefit to the village. I'm totally pro car show, but I'm also trying to rein in the cost of these guys that are consistently working more than part-time jobs at, that could be a big problem for us in the future. So, does anybody have any input on why the village expends that all year long for that car show? And maybe we should think about asking the car show to offset some of the cost of that maintenance.
Price of gas and everything, yeah.
Yeah,
How
so
much time they're spending, whether they're hourly, you know.
Because we're always on them to reduce their hours.
right, and I did, I did mention to them that, you know, we should scale back the attention that we spend on those properties without letting them, you know, get into, you know, state of disrepair, but they don't need to necessarily be, you know, manicured park-like settings all the time either. So it'd be nice if we could find a balance there where we can cut some of that expense. But, you know, I think the point was made earlier, and I think it's a good point that Jan, who runs the car show, has been very good about, you know, contributing proceeds from that event back into the community in various forms. So I think, you know, that's the hard part to communicate to everybody is, you know, we
Right.
do get some financial benefit in return for that as well. Now, does that, you know, balance out with what we spend to maintain it? Frankly, we don't really know, I don't think. Because I don't think we've analyzed it close enough to how many hours are spent mowing it, what, you know,
Are they
how
cutting
much
it
gas
every
gets
week?
used. Well, I don't know, to be honest. Do you know, Terry?
They're doing a lot more work in the park,
Right.
right now because of the ball games. So I've only seen them over there once, but driving through, but I see them when I'm coming up Landon Road, they're maintaining that, and that's part of what we agreed to do. Is maintain the ballpark.
Ballpark.
Well, the ballpark, yeah, the ballpark is our
saying the-
responsibility.
The
We're talking
field,
about,
Like fields.
But I
and all
guess
that.
I'm just wondering if there's any possibility that we can approach through the quarry committee, approach Hallquist about them picking up the slack of mowing their lawn. Or their portion over there. Even though there was an agreement done, Jerry, I mean, I still think through the board committee, maybe that's something that we could approach them with now. Those are different people that are there now than it was. And I don't think it would hurt to at least ask them if they would consider, picking up some of that slack.
Probably not. What we did years ago when we started is we would mow it before the car show and then not after. But what happens is it gets so long.
Yeah, then you're right.
You have to cut it, with a sickle mower. And with catalytic converters and some of that kind of stuff, we were worried about a fire. So that's why in the last 10 years, we've been keeping it down with the mowers rather than sickle bars. So something to look at.
Well,
HealthQuest would be responsible to keep it below 12 inches.
And Lord knows, we've been getting enough rain that everybody's cutting their grass at least twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just been part of it, but I'm wondering if that's something that the quarry committee could look into. Approaching them and see if maybe they could, pick it up. And maintain it, and that would take something off of the shoulders of the maintenance people we have.
Yeah, it would be like their donation to the village is taking over the maintenance. I don't know. I mean, I see how they let us use land, which is a very big liability to them. And so I really appreciate that, and I can appreciate that, but I can also appreciate this citizen, he's a business owner. And he goes, I have to pay X number of dollars for all my mowing. Why doesn't the village just mow my area too? If they're doing Hallquist's, because that's all he sees, is he sees that we're spending our money maintaining Hallquist's land. So the nuance of that was hard for me to explain to him because I didn't know this agreement that had been made, first of all, which will take me a great way in answering his question. But also it just seemed kind of weird because on the other side of it was we're really trying to reduce those labor hours.
Yeah,
We need to.
I'm just gonna suggest that what we do, since we're really just in a committee report here.
Yeah.
Is, I'm gonna ask that Terry. Review with Dennis and Jeff, the frequency of the mowing, how many hours are getting spent doing that. And we can put this on an agenda for next month.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Public safety. Nobody in place there. Public works, recycling and sewer, Jerry.
Okay, we're still doing a little bit with cottonwoods. We kind of late and we missed the budding season. The problem is that really only the females are a hazard or problem, kind of like life, I guess.
You don't want to go there, Jerry.
I know where I'm sitting. but
Careful.
I couldn't resist. But one question I got for Hector is that it says cottonwood trees. In the past, we've been really adamant about getting the females and cleaning them out. But it would be a whole lot easier if we just enforce all cottonwood trees.
We can do that, but we would have to amend the ordinance.
It doesn't say female, it just says cottonwood trees.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought
Not that
that would have to,
specific.
because we focus just
Well,
on,
when we found out what the cause was 10, 12 years ago,
yeah.
and we researched it and found out that it was the females.
uh-huh.
And, because first I thought we could just look at the leaves, but it's really hard. You gotta catch them when
Before
they're
it's
budding.
yeah.
They gotta be budding before you're gonna get them. So it would be easier, just to say remove all cottonwoods. And I think it's in our ordinance. It's gonna cause maybe some discussion.
It's the one that has.
Think about it.
Yeah, because you still have the cost factor there, which
Oh, yeah.
was the obstacle before.
Right. Okay, we're starting to work on tall grass on the right of ways that we have to mow with the sickle mower. And I'm looking at getting dead trees removed. It's become quite a hazard with the ash borer now, much more than it was before. So we'll look into that. I'm talking to a couple of tree guys to see what it's gonna cost. Because as in the past, we had to, some properties agreed, some properties didn't. We had to take them down and either bill them or put it on their taxes. And it's much worse now with the ad war. We got to do some street sweeping on our properties and on our right of ways. And I'm looking at that with Waukesha County, who had done it before, right, Ron? Yeah. And I've been working with Ben on the water main going up Good Hope Road on what we should do for laterals and lateral sizes. And that's all I got right now.
All right, thank you, Jerry, and Cory.
Sorry, have nothing else. I,
Okay, department report, clerk's office.
We will be working on utility billing towards the end of the month. To get that out, in early July. What else is going on with our licenses? Obviously, those will be approved, so we will be working on getting those issued, by the end of the month, so. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Police department,
A couple things, recently we've been working on a few, cases of theft of checks from mailboxes, they're being washed, as they say, made out to other people. So if anyone is a victim of that, or knows anyone who is, please have them contact us so we can investigate. We have a CCW class coming up, next Monday, the 17th at 5 p.m. here at Village Hall. The National Night Out is August 7th at 5 p.m. at Village Park, and we're currently seeking sponsors and raffle prize donations if anyone is so inclined. And for my last item, if I could have Lieutenant Lang come front and center.
she's got it done.
Didn't know what that's either. So on February 8th at 4:45 p.m., Lieutenant Lang was dispatched to a possible drug overdose at an address on Main Street. On arrival, the patient was unresponsive and purple. Lieutenant Lang quickly administered 1 dose of Narcan by nose as she cleared his airway and attempted to revive him. Another dose of Narcan was given. The situation was complicated by the patient having vomited and not having a patent airway. Shortly thereafter, Menominee Falls Fire Department arrived on scene and took over resuscitation efforts. At this point, the patient was beginning to regain consciousness. According to medical personnel, the patient's complete recovery was due, at least in part, to Lieutenant Lang's action. So for that reason, I present Lieutenant Lang the life-saving award.
good job.
Good job.
Thank you, Amanda. Chief, did you have anything else?
That's all.
Okay,
I've got a question, Patrick.
yes, sir.
June 1st, I called at 9:59 a.m. with a complaint that I had was contacted by a couple of residents about 10 on the Western Main lift station. So I called in with a question if there was something going on there. Got another call Saturday, probably 6 o'clock, drove past it, took a picture. Did you get that picture? If it is.
Said Custer Lane, but it was
I'm
good.
sorry, Good Hope Road. I drove past there around 6 o'clock, there was a full home party. To me, from what I understand where the property is, there were 2 tents, tables, chairs on the village property. Which I think is a very serious potential lawsuit. And I got a call back at 5:56 Sunday night. It's a day and a half. And my question was, why was the party going on? Why didn't somebody? Because if this is happening on village property, the village is assuming the liability. And that they didn't have before I got a return call.
I believe this has happened in the past, because I can recall seeing a tent set up there other times.
I remember seeing it a couple of years ago.
Right.
After somebody called me complaint about it, but this.
Why are they calling you and not the police department? Exactly.
So he should have signed with trustee.
Listen, you call our police
Remedy the
department,
situation.
you should let it go. It's not police.
I relayed the.
Okay. They get back to you or not?
I called Saturday morning, I got a call back at 5:56 Sunday.
Regardless, I think we've got to notify parties that they're trespassing on village property. Now, they do mow the grass like it's their own, but it's village property for 200 feet behind the lift station. I think we've got to make them aware that they're trespassing. And they're just, right?
Yeah. Do you know if there's signs down there? Are there signs down there? Trespassing by.
Well, I never put one.
I think Ron was working on some sign legislations for no parking, right?
That happened
That's
last
what I
year
see.
too, and then, all police will call them. And supposedly he got permission from, Chief Hill to do it last year. Whether he felt like he should do it again, I don't know. But that was his reasoning for last year's party. He got permission from Chief Hill.
So whether or not that is factual or not really doesn't matter at this point now, but I think the message is clear that going forward, that is not allowed. So if they do ask for permission, the answer is no.
I did warn them that they should not be on village property, they should not park in front of the lift station or have a tent on village property. But by the time she asked that, the tent was already up. That was sometime late Friday as I answered my email from home. Saturday I was off, the town line was sick. And there was nobody to send. So if someone could call the dispatcher, they probably would have sent a deputy there.
Right.
I don't know if that happened.
But I think we just got to notice them, because it's a dead rate hurry.
Call 911, which
Well,
then
yeah.
would refer it to the county.
And yeah, just non-emergency.
It's not emergency and they don't have any records. They say we've got a permit. What are you gonna do Saturday? So we've got to notice them and then the chief will have notice from then on.
Unless we don't give them the opportunity to have it anymore. Since they violated the terms that you originally gave them.
Well, if you have a dialogue with them, maybe it would be prudent to just go have a conversation about this right now while it's fresh. Just set the tone right up front. So it's not an issue next year and they don't have tents erected by the time they're asking for permission. We tell them no. Anything else on?
No, but I would have been nice to get about that earlier. I did not want to call the sheriff's department, but I just have to get done.
Nobody worked to call you, I don't want to call you.
Yeah, that's why we just later on, we're gonna talk a little bit again about this public safety referendum. It sure be nice if we had more coverage and staffing but that takes money. We don't have it. So.
So Keith, you recommend something like this comes up this fall. After this.
Dispatcher will figure out the correct person to send, whether it's us or the deputies or what have you.
We call here the department be able to do anything if they can't.
It all depends on the circumstances, but yeah, they could call me for guidance.
Okay. Thank you, Keith.
All right, citizen comments, this is meant for public comments on any subject without any discussion by board of trustee members or action except possible referral to a governmental body or village agent. Gloria has a comment.
Hi, I'm Gloria Chankey. I live over at Rock Point Village. I'm kind of against vaping thing. Why, what does the village gain by having a vaping place?
Vaping place?
Yeah, this Lulu Lux Vape.
Oh. The one that's been there for, it's been there for a while. Yes. Okay.
I was told it was not already.
Several years. Yeah, it's hit or miss for sure, but I've been in there before.
Oh.
It's a legal product.
Yeah,
Nothing
no.
illegal.
Yeah, it's a legal
Okay,
product.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other?
I have to say before Gloria, thank you so much for the flowers and cups.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. And Kelly did the pots. So I got help this year and the pots are beautiful. So be sure and thank Ben's wife.
I will, but I want to make sure that you were publicly thanked.
Oh, thank you.
I'd like to give public comment if I
Yeah, just stand and state your
Sure.
name and address, please.
can. Stand right next to you.
That's all right.
Thank you. My name is Mike Thurston. My address is 1263 Mary Hill Circle. That's in Heartland. So about 20 minutes from here. I didn't know they had vaping and tent parties here, so that's like quite a combination. If I didn't know, I would have contacted you. I don't want to take too much of your time, board, and I appreciate your service to Landon. I've been trying to make my way around all of Waukesha County. I've been throughout town of Oconomowoc, city of Oconomowoc, Shaniqua, down to the village of Eagle, city of Brookfield. We have a really big election coming up, and I find it coincidental that I'm talking on the heels of Chief Bell's comments. It is on August 13th, we're gonna be picking the next DA, Waukesha County. My boss, Sue Opera, is retiring after 33 years of service. And it's not probably a question in anybody's heart here. I know the chief and I have talked. The chief has served many long, hard years in Milwaukee, but things are starting to change out here. All around the village of Heartland. I supervise, I'm one of the 3 deputy DAs right now. I supervise our crimes against kids and women. There are not borders geographically. The internet brings people into our communities all over. I've got trials everywhere. Chief and I had a big DV case we were working on until they finally ended up getting up and leaving here out of Village of Man. I have the endorsements of our current sheriff, 2 prior sheriffs, all 26 police chiefs, over 100 deputies here, Waukesha County deputies, even over 1,000 Milwaukee police officers. So I just want to encourage you all to vote on August 13th. It's a really big race. And I think I bring something unusual, which is I've been a prosecutor my entire career. And I've been a prosecutor in the bowels of Atlanta. Been a prosecutor for 2 years in Milwaukee. And now here for 8 years, building, putting a team together. So I just want to say thank you all for your service. I'm trying to get around and meet all the local leadership. You guys are a big part of it here in Atlanta. Meet all the local leadership. Thank you all. And just encourage y'all to keep thinking about public safety, keeping our community safe. So thank you.
How do you do on trespass cases?
Well, I think the president, there's video and intents involved, so it's all mixed up, and I'm not quite sure, I know I'd have to refer to the chief, that's what I'm saying. So, thank you,
Thank you for coming.
thank you for having me.
I got a comment that this would go back to Park and Recreation. Maybe you can- there was some talk a while back that we wanted to donate to the village, that like triangle right there
Next to the bug line.
next to the bug line for people to stop and take a break and maybe put a sign or something, you know, points to downtown, some of the things that are down here or whatever. I just wanted to I haven't heard anything in regards to that. I know you're all really busy, and especially you, but Austin has invited me and checked that is still would like to do that.
Excellent.
So
Right.
being part of the village now and the business in the village, you know, we both feel really strong that we want to do our part for the community as well. So that is a standing
Right.
invitation. So,
Right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you
And-
after.
Brenda, you have Mike's address and everything?
Branch with a capital B.
Yeah.
Any other citizen comments?
I got a question,
Can you say your name and address?
Jeffrey Stoll, Kim Stoll, 20467 West Greenville.
Thank you.
Last week we had a day where the water was black. It ruined some clothes in the washing machine and, was there anything going on that?
Yeah, so there have been a couple of events. The first one was we lost power for a while down at the Whispering Ridge Well House. Our emergency generator, which does get tested on a very regular basis, failed to initiate. So we did have a period where that system was not operational and there was some pressure loss. And we did not get below a threshold that was posed any danger to the community, but it did get very, very low. So then when that pressure comes back on again, you can obviously get some stuff moving around in there. The other event that we had was some we were not notified of this, but there was some significant flushing going on through some hydrants in Rock Point Village. That was also at a level that was causing some pressure issues briefly. So it was likely one of those two events, but we are aware.
Do we know what the blackness is? What's in that? Is it?
It's just sediment from infiltration into the pipes.
Nothing we have to worry about.
No.
Drinking water.
No, it all gets tested on a very, very regular and routine basis for safety, coliform and chlorination levels and all of that. So there's a regular program in place for testing.
Bad time, do the load of water.
It was, yeah, unfortunately, just bad timing, but we did, I did see a couple of people posting about loss of pressure and discoloration in their water. And whenever we have those significant pressure changes in that system, some stuff like that can happen.
Yeah, the tree snaps.
Stuff gets stirred up and it, starts moving around. It's unfortunate. But again, fortunately, we caught it in time to make sure there wasn't any public health issues or any boil notice needed or anything like that.
Who did they call if they moved into that?
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's water quality concerns on the village website, there is contact information there to report water quality issues, water pressure issues. And Mid-City Corporation is our well operator, our contracted well operator. They're really gonna be your best source. I mean, you can call me, but I'm just gonna call them. So, and try to find out, but.
And Patrick, I'm gonna point out, we do have a text message system we could be using to notify people, instead of people going to Facebook. And, I would really like to push the thought that all you have to do is call me and say, hey, Colleen, throw out a message that there was a loss of pressure and yet there is no boil order, just, something that we can communicate. Because I think that will drive more people to use the service and it would be a more reliable way than hearsay or, now, they're worried about drinking their water and they should know right away that we're on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair criticism. Yeah.
Who would we?
All of it.
Mid-City.
Yeah.
So Mid-City would be the best first call to make.
Okay.
Find
out the water
but-
state,
Yeah, but you can always call me too, and I'll follow up with them and get back to you with an answer, but,
It cleared up pretty quick.
what's that?
It cleared up pretty quick.
Okay,
The generator.
we were just waiting until you got those whites in there.
Oh, yeah. I got it cleaned up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully you were able to just run them again and.
Well,
get it
actually, I
done.
didn't have the heart on the wash.
Oh,
I wasn't messing with you guys.
Wow.
Mike, we're full of problems.
Do you folks subscribe to the Civic Alert system?
I don't think so. We should probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna write out instructions and I'll hand it to you before you go. All you have to do is text message to a certain number, and
Okay.
then you'll be automatically signed up. We'll tell you when there's a village board meeting, we'll tell you if there's special events, and if there's any emergency information. It also includes things like flood warnings, tornado warnings, severe storm warnings, that all gets pushed to anybody signed up for it. So you
Okay.
know immediately. You too?
Yeah,
Don't wash your whites.
if you sign up to that service through the website, though, you get more options on
Yeah.
what types of alerts you want to be notified of, whether or not you want it to go to your email or your home phone or SMS messaging. There's a lot more control when you go through the website.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to hear about the street.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
any other public comments? I think we covered almost everybody except for Jim and Ron. You guys got anything?
They've been here before.
No, all right. Item number 10, no, excuse me, item number 9. Discussion of possible action on committee and plan commission appointments. So let's start with the fun part first, and you can complain all you want about the committee appointments, but this is what I put together. Sorry? That's, we'll get. All seriousness aside, does anybody have any issues with these appointments and these committee makeups? They're towards the beginning.
In your packets?
No.
Right after the police report. Right near the beginning, should be in order. You're too far.
Should be right after the minute.
Don't look at Jerry's copy and tell me if you.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. Just on the committee, we just correct Tina Moore's.
Yes, that was pointed out, thank you.
I already got that.
Yep.
Beat you to it.
Did you?
We are still working, with our IT, that should,
Yes.
Our email.
should call them slow tea.
Yeah, the emails are on the website, but we still have to get you guys up and running. So
Okay. All right. There you go.
No name, slowly.
Yeah. For the planning commission, as you all probably are aware of, Mr. Newman's appointment to the village board opened up a citizen spot on the planning commission. So he simply shifted from one seat to a different type of seat. Some of you may have saw, I put out some feelers on Facebook and several of the different groups asking for people that be interested in doing that to get in touch with me. I did have 3 whopping candidates who presented themselves, so that was good. At least we had some people step up, so that was nice. The person that I would like to nominate for appointment is Linda Lavold. She is a newer resident to the community. She's only been here a couple of years, but she did serve on the Wauwatosa Design Review Board for a number of years. So she has some pretty relevant experience that I thought would be very relatable to our needs on the planning commission. So I would like to nominate Ms. Lavold. Unfortunately, she was not able to make it here tonight to subject herself to her imposition, but like that. That wasn't lost on me. So unless there's any issues with that, I would would like to nominate her. I would like to make a motion to nominate Linda LeBold to the planning commission.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or anybody else have any comments or concerns? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. And committee appointments, we want to do a separate motion for those.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve the committee appointments as presented?
I make a motion that we approve the committee appointments as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any additional comments, concerns? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. All right, item 10, discussion and possible action on temporary crushing permit for HM Branch. We don't have Mr. Wood here tonight. I think this is pretty standard crushing permit application. Is that ours or is this
Well, problem is, it's not really permitted on this property.
in the zoning district?
Yeah. And really only is permitted in the quarries. And this particular one, blasting and rock crushing, comes from, a development where you would be doing your trenches and that stuff. And, ordinance says that, then that can be crushed on site. There's some requirements to be used as backfill, and or road base. But just, to be able to crush anything anywhere, it doesn't exist.
I would point out that when they brought us the plan of operation, they were specifically asked if they were gonna be doing any crushing. And they were told by the village that they could crush as long as they obtained a permit. So this is the first that I'm hearing that it's not allowed in their zoning.
Yep. It's not permitted.
What are they zoned? Industrial?
Light industrial, yeah, and contractor,
And
yeah.
what is a quarry zone?
Quarry.
So you can only crush at a quarry
Yes,
or if you're making a development.
yes. And only the material that's you blast for the utilities in the development. You can't use anything else. You can't bring raw material in and crush it.
All right, well, how are we going to square this with what the village engineer told them when they told us that they were going to be doing limited rock crushing in their new location?
Well, he was wrong. It's a violation of our ordinances. And so, if you want to change the ordinances. If you want to see a little bit more, you can look at, section 14-40, paragraph 10, paragraph B. And, it says there, it's under attractive maintenance, and this is for commercial. And, no landowner, and I won't read the whole thing, but, the pile that's there shouldn't be allowed for more than 10 days. And after the notice of 10 days, it has to be removed in 30 days. When being it's then or over a year, that's also a violation.
At this location over here,
They haven't been there yet.
are you talking about over at AFW or are you talking about, well, they're talking about their property over here at HM Branch. Over here by the BP.
It's over behind the.
It's not the property. we're
Where is
talking
your
about.
location?
Our location is our shop and office down here.
Yeah.
At 2015 West Main Street. We have a pile over at the foundry, which is 2010 West Good Hope. And that pile is to be crushed, used on site to raise the elevation so that it's not in mud all the time. The future proposal, which the village does not have at this time, is as we continue to clean up that property, someday we would like to approach and put up, like they did over across the street from Quad Graphics, where they put up a building with a small office in it. And, you know, they become like, what do they call them, a shop condo as such. and develop that whole thing back there.
Right, yeah.
Okay, as well as use that material, which we were told we could do as well, down at our site down there.
All mud
It's, you know, from,
from years of neglect of the property, so need
you know, it's
stone to
right.
clean that mud up.
And that was the whole purpose. We don't intend to keep bringing a pile of material there and stuff. There's approximately about 5,000 to 6,000 ton, which we calculed out that should be about what we'll need between the two properties.
So-
We're trying to beautify things, what we're trying to do.
So to understand correctly, this pile that you're talking about where you want to actually crush is over at AFW.
Correct.
Which is the whole nother big mess that you're well aware of, right?
Yep, and we've been, like I said, we've been attempting to fix it for a long time. It was a mess for over 30 years, which I wasn't involved in. And since we've been at the property, it's been continuously being beautified, utilized for dumpsters, semi-trailers as such, and light duty.
So I think that one is still open, if you will, in terms of their plan of operation approval process and all that. I think that's still ongoing. Trying to get that out there.
Mike, the foundry still owns the land.
They still do, yes. We have first offer refusal to buy it, the owner. In January, actually, it was early part of January, approached us if we would like to buy the property. And our intent would be to buy the property when he's ready to.
Including the foundry building? Or just the land?
No, just the land behind. I don't have that much money.
Right.
I don't know.
So now, you say there's mud down here? Cause I
Yeah.
thought down there, one of the reasons you didn't want to pave was because there's bedrock that's almost to the surface, so I'm.
Correct, but from years and years of neglect, like up to the lot lines, from even where there is the asphalt. Past that, it's just sediment from leaves and trees and from years and years and years of neglect all the way around the back.
Many years ago, there was a concrete batch plant there.
Right,
Yeah.
well,
Sandy,
for the most part, it's right on top of bedrock.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you know, you go down. Just past the surface, our intent is to scrape all that mud up, clean all that mud up, get it out of there, and use this rock. So we don't have,
For a
we
new
don't have
base.
mud,
New
you know.
base.
Yeah,
he's been processing the material already.
no,
Yeah, you got the excavator there.
the excavator is crunching the big pieces, correct,
That's what I said.
correct, yes. So it can be fed into the crusher.
But he's
correct.
not crushing it, because that's really not a
No.
dust or a problem what he's doing right now, but with the.
It won't be when we crush either. We have plenty of means. We got a semi trailer that's a tanker with fire trucks that hook up right to the crusher itself with dust suppression systems that we use on job sites all over the state.
So is there a way, Hector, for us to do, if the board decided to do, like a simplified conditional use or temporary conditional use permit that would, you know, deal with these rare, short-term or one-time occurrences, or do we have to put everybody through the whole painful process of changing the ordinance?
Well, the only information that I have about this is what was in the packet, and none of what has been discussed, was included, no fault of anybody. So, I'm saying that simply because I don't have enough facts to answer your question in a more general way. It's conceivable that if there's a specific problem to be addressed in a particular situation, and it's not a self-created hardship, that perhaps a variance can be considered, very limited variance to basically transform the form of the material there and relay it on the site in a way that it benefits the site and benefits the community. But in order to do that, I think we need to have specifics as to what the mechanics of that are going to be. You did start by indicating that there are 5,000 to 6,000 tons of material to be processed. How will it be processed? What will the hours of operation be? How are you going to control dust? Are you going to go off the premises with any of that material? Or how will you lay it on the existing property? What would the elevation changes be that you anticipate so that they can be monitored and checked? And in particular, and I'm a layman speaking here, drainage issue that may or may not crop up. It'll filter through the crushed stone, but where will that wind up? Will that be a greater problem or not? I would recommend that if the applicant is interested, that he assemble those materials, submit them to Ben and to myself, and I will review our ordinances to see whether a one-time limited variance is appropriate here. I can see a number of public benefits. Number one, it makes the property more usable. Number two, it gets rid of an aesthetic hazard. Number three, it protects the village streets because you're not transporting that material back and forth. But the thing that's got to be understood is that this is a site-specific remedy and doesn't address anything that may be at any other property that you control.
If I could say something, it's my personal understanding that when we went through all of the process we went through before, this was all approved and we just needed to put the permit in 15 days prior or to have a farm. Yeah,
The permit is
for 15 days of crushing, and it would be treated just like a regular, pretty much like a job site. If somebody tore a building down and now they have a concrete slab from the building and they're gonna crush it and reuse the material. You know, this isn't like, this is gonna be a continuous thing. We're gonna use this material on this site and at the site where our offices are currently. And it was my understanding that this was all approved. We went through this whole process.
I'm not in a position to either dispute or
Yeah.
confirm the correctness of your understanding. I can tell you that I sat through a lot of the discussion that took place. It was a very involved discussion. I do not recall a reference to reducing rubble from a building at a site and moving it to another location. There may have been some references to the assemblage of some of the materials at your site, but I can't speak to that. And the only thing that we have of record is what the permit itself says. So I think that the first thing that I am going to suggest to Ben is that he look at the permit. This was a permit that was worked out between the village and yourself as you were represented by an attorney and who did a very competent job with regards to a very complicated situation. The overriding concern, as I recall, coming away from that issuance of the permissions that you received was to allow you to do business while at the same time not allowing your current site over here from becoming something that was gonna be used for purposes not allowed by the ordinance, for example, the storage of those tanks. There, that was an issue. So let me suggest that the best thing for the board to do is to table this matter for the next meeting with the understanding that the applicant, if he wants to pursue it, should assemble information, including reviewing your permit. I do not recall the specifics of your permit, but I do not recall anything that spoke to the reduction of the rubble, that's my term, at the boundary site. And that it be submitted to Ben and to myself so that we can make arrangements to see if the variance is permissible and to assemble the Board of Appeals, which is the body that has to grant variances.
Hector, this was all approved for us to build a pile to have material for both properties. We went through all of this already.
Do you have the permit with you? I don't have the permits.
No, I
What was
don't
the plan
have.
of operation he's referring to?
Yes,
Yeah, it's not a permit, it was a
And-
plan of operation.
and we were told that when we crush, after we get the pile built, that we should bring in for that permit so that the village knows when we're gonna crush, because it's a very short, limited time
Right.
for us to crush. We'll have that whole pile crushed in about a week.
Mike, I understand your point, and,
And the-
and I think you're correct in saying, because I do recall something about this. I think unfortunately, I think what's happened was we led you to believe something that we thought was allowable was going to be.
So did I.
Yeah, and it's now been brought to our attention that that activity is not technically allowed by ordinance in that zoning district. So we're trying to find a way to work through this so that we can get you the temporary.
And
permission
literally
that you
crush
need.
100 feet away
Right,
on the other side of the bug line.
totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand. It's, yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. So,
We don't disagree with the premise, we just have to follow the laws.
right, so we're trying to find a legal vehicle to allow this, is what we're trying to do.
And I would add that in the normal blasting and rock crushing permit, which goes on really for development, is that the material is to be used on site, which helps that.
Right.
So, just so I understand too, this material is currently located over at the AFW site,
Correct.
but you want to crush it there and then bring it over
We're gonna
and
use
spread
it
it
on that site
on that site.
as well
Okay,
as
and some
there, yes.
Okay, all right.
And we had X amount of time to build that pile, which I wanna say it was 2 years. To build that pile, get it beautified, get a fence up over there at the Main Street property and so on.
So,
Clean the rest of this site up. Okay, so that it can be developed.
so I want to clarify though. What you're talking, what was discussed and what was the plan of operation that was approved and that we're
Yeah,
think may have been miscommunicated to you is for this property over here. It has nothing to do with that one over there. That one is still outstanding and we still do not have approved plans of operation for that site over there.
Right, because
That's
you
gonna
didn't get
complicate this
stuff
matter for you.
from AFW, correct?
Right.
Yes,
Right,
yes, we turned in all our stuff,
right, right.
but AFW did not turn theirs in, if I understand it.
They're the
Right.
property owner.
Right,
Right.
we
So
leave
that,
it.
that might complicate this a bit. Just so you know. Because we did not approve anything for over there yet,
yeah, I don't think they have a plan of operation to this day.
right? So
We turned in ours, you know, all us and the two towns.
I get it, and we're not trying to be difficult here.
No, I get it, we're just, we're trying to get this done because
Yep.
it's way more difficult to do this in the middle of winter And thus, we have the pile built, just like we said we were gonna do. Crush it, put it down where it's supposed to go, clean the mud out. Same thing over there. You know,
I don't think there's
there's
anybody,
proper drainage and everything over there, we just need to bring the elevation up a couple inches. So that we're out of the puddles and.
I'd be willing to bet there isn't anybody here that wouldn't rather see a gravel parking lot than a big pile of rubble.
Yeah,
Okay, so understand that.
Yeah.
We get it. Now but we have to go by the rules and the ordinances and the law.
I understand that, I
can't
didn't
set a
expect to
precedent-
get it
We
tabled.
can't set a precedent
till next
where it
month.
just allows people to tell you we're gonna do whatever the hell they want.
No,
So, you know, if we allow you, you know, we just gotta be careful.
I appreciate, very much do I appreciate the concern, but I feel like we did exactly what we were told to do and came in and applied for the permit in that window that we wanted to crush.
For that property over there.
We are using the material over there.
You're not crushing that.
Crushing is there, yeah.
Is AFW aware that they need to submit?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
They just,
This is an ongoing situation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina's new, so.
Well, should I do it? I'll make a motion that we table this.
Yeah, and then we'll, so we have a motion to table. Do we have a second?
I think we're just tabling it, Mike, just to get
Do we
more
have a second?
information.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Okay, I think we're just tabling this, Mike, from what I understand, just so that Hector and Ben can get more information. You know, and then find a way around the ordinance so that you're able to crush
Right.
over there and get that taken care of. And that's how I'm looking at it.
yeah,
I understand. I fully understand. You just want to get it done, but
well, and, you know, I thought I could be wrong. I thought I heard Terry say if it's a development,
yeah,
okay? Is it a development? It's being developed, it's.
Yeah, but you're not putting.
Things are
utilities.
happening. A what?
It's for utilities. Where you have a subdivision, you got a blast for the utilities. And then you're permitted to crush that material that you blasted out on that site. That's really what this permit is for.
So like when the.
So anytime a contractor comes in to this town and I'll just,
Sure.
a concrete structure that's in this town. And they want to take that structure down. You're gonna tell them, no, you can't crush it.
No, it's not that. There would be a demolition permit and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, but under what this is right now. No, you're not building a subdivision. You're not blasting and taking stone out to put in sewer lines, water lines, etc. And then being able to crush that material on site.
Was there a different permit?
We have no permit for what he's asking to
That's
do.
what I was asking.
That's
I
what
didn't
the
know if there
discussion is.
Well, maybe I'm filling out the wrong permit.
We have not. We have not.
Well,
That's the only
can
one
we
we have.
develop one so I can crush?
That's gonna take a while.
Now that'll be
That'll take a
longer.
while.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So in the quarries, when they do their crushing, what permit do they use?
They pay 10 grand for their quarry permit. And
So-
they're allowed crushing.
So the crushing is wrapped into their quarrying permit
Yes.
that they.
Yes.
And the district,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
here,
Sure, the
I
zoning district.
suspect
Yeah.
a good deal of that, and I use the term loosely, rubble.
Yeah.
Did not originate at that site, it was just brought there from others and accumulated.
That's correct.
So are you clear on what we're gonna try to do? We're gonna try to find a way to get
I
this.
understand that, but you know, now we're at the 11th hour and schedules and so on and so forth and, you know, I did exactly what I'm supposed to do and brought the permit in to Brenda. I don't know, a week or so ago. And now, you know, we're like at this 15 days, we wanna crush and get this done and.
My strong suggestion is, that since you seem to have the telephone number of the AFW people,
Yes.
that you remind them that the village is still waiting for a plan of
And
operation.
I can do that.
They've been
Yeah, we have, but
indifferent and unresponsive. And this is primarily for their benefit because it's accomplished. Then there's an option for them to liquidate that asset and for you to go into business.
Right.
So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated.
you know, I mean, my understanding, there's gonna be apartments right next door in a big field and such. And, but our long-term plan is to,
No apartments.
right on the corner,
Yeah, the
I don't know,
11
maybe
acres.
condos or
No,
something, I
no,
heard
No.
rumblings of it,
Nope.
but okay, I'm wrong.
Nope.
But at any rate, whatever goes there, you know, there won't be people's going in and out or anything like that. If we turn it into something, that'd be much more.
The owner of that property, has been in dispute with Lannon for about 15 years. And he says that nothing will ever be built there, and he's told that to his heirs also.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an empty field forever, so.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this or can we move on now? All those in favor to table? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried to table. I will stay in touch with you guys with any updates as soon as I get information.
Okay. Thank you.
But,
Sorry.
item number 11, discussion of possible action on transient merchant application for Chris Ratz of 2635 Gulf Avenue, Racine, Wisconsin. 53404 for fireworks sales at 19010 West Main Street.
I remember from last year that there was some consternation about this.
There's gonna be some fireworks.
Yeah, I again,
I agree.
make a motion to deny this based on the fact that we shouldn't be selling articles that are prohibited from being used within our municipality, in our municipality.
We say no fireworks and we sell
But it is legal to sell, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it conflicts with
our rule.
Oh, yeah.
the
Big
public, restrictions.
Chief, maybe you want to give us a refresher course on the legality of possession and or use of fireworks in the village versus the purchasing of.
Residents, I believe there's a permit issued by the state for fireworks possession. For large entities like this, retailer here who's selling them, but, as a resident, you can't possess them or use them. So.
But they buy them. And how can, I know we have an ordinance in here that they can't fire them off, but how do you stop that? I mean, you can lay in bed, you know, from the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, right on through the weekend, and there's still, I mean, the other day, there were fireworks being shot off.
Yeah.
Someplace, how do you stop that?
Well, and some of it is Lisbon.
Do you not?
It's across the street.
No, this was,
No, but I'm saying it goes on in Lisbon, right on Town Line Road, right on the other side of it.
I agree, but just last week, I heard fireworks being shut off very close by where I live. And, I mean, we can stop the ordinance from him selling, but how do you stop the people
Well, and
from? We don't.
And that's,
You can't.
and that's my point. Last year when I brought this up, I was accused of being a party pooper. I'm not a party pooper. I like a good firework as much as the next person. But if you have an ordinance that says you can't possess and you can't fire them, then leadership has a responsibility to not sell it. Now, am I gonna be calling the police every time a firecracker goes off? No, I'm not gonna do that. I have the right to, but you know, that is not, the purpose is that if you either lift the ordinance and sell the fireworks or don't sell the fireworks. Plus, in addition to this, we sent the legislative committee to go up the fees for all of the things, including transient merchant licenses. And they raised the fees on, you know, cigarette machines, but not this. So it's the
I
same.
thought last year we raised this.
We did approve an updated fee schedule.
And I thought it had included the merchant, the
Right.
transient.
Now, I don't know what other transient merchants do we get in this village,
This is the
because it's
only
not just fireworks, right? Or is it?
This is the only one. Sometimes we have some people inquire, but even at that, once they hear it's $150, then they're like off and running.
So let's say somebody wanted to come in and have a food truck in the village, you know, a couple of Fridays during the month. Would that be a transient merchant application?
Yeah,
Yeah. And if we ran that up to $1,000, do you think we'd ever get something like that here?
No. So is that the reasoning behind not raising it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just gonna vote,
Probably.
I'm just gonna vote against it, you guys can do whatever you want with it, but I just think. It's counterproductive to send that mixed message, that's like, I don't know, what we just had
What's
here
the
too.
difference between that message? My understanding was it is not illegal to possess. It is illegal to light anything. that
Illegal to
needs
possess
go.
and light.
And that's a disorderly conduct ticket, and my neighbor across the street paid for 2 of them. But if you are going to target fireworks, is this person gonna come back and say? It's
Oh,
illegal.
read
to drive
anything.
drunk?
I tell you what, if somebody wants a transient merchant application to sell crack cocaine on the corner, I'll deny that too, because you shouldn't be using it.
There
I mean, if
a
there's a
little
law
bit
against it.
difference.
Well, there's a little bit of difference, but the
Well, there's-
principle is that you are providing the sale of an illegal product within your city. If you want to go to Jefferson and buy some and try to get away with it here, that's Chief Bell's problem. But when I approve a license to sell an illegal product, I'm not doing my job. That's my opinion.
Define illegal product.
You are unable to possess or fire fireworks
My
within.
understanding is that it's not illegal to possess. It is illegal to use, and there's a definition.
I never read it.
Chief, can you verify that?
Yeah, what's our ordinance?
I'm looking it up right now.
Not possess. By ordinance, you cannot possess.
Inland.
The ordinance number.
Peace and safety, it would be section 30-108. Fireworks, all use of display or of fireworks except as provided. All right, I gotta click on this to see it.
You get it with the subject. That was by the village.
Let's see.
But that's a control,
No, I'm saying, you know, that.
Yeah, they're saying if it's a,
and that's control.
That display is run by a licensed
Yeah.
individual. But on these, where the flip side of this, and I remember, I haven't had anything to drink in over 45 years. Is it illegal to drive drunk? Yes, it is, but we allow beer to be sold here and alcohol. Do we allow cigarettes to be sold here, even though they're bad for you and will?
But that has nothing to do with,
well, you can vote for it, I'm voting against it.
All it's
Colleen, did you find the actual
It just says fireworks, all possession, use, or display of fireworks except as provided by the laws of the state and ordinances of the village, so, I'm in the Muni code, but I'm not.
Allows it, right? Yeah, state allows you to possess it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So just not allowed to actually use it.
yeah, so not actually against the village ordinances to possess it.
But it is to fire it off.
Yes.
Well, why would you possess it if you don't fire it?
You don't fire it in the land and it's not our.
Yeah.
No. Because I live not far from there, I know driving past there. I've not noticed any cars that really.
he
that
would
I
be
know-
coming back year after year after year if he wasn't making money.
Right.
So I believe he's making money.
So is.
And for 200, whatever it's charging him, $100 and something to pay for the permit. He's gonna come back every time because he's making a clean cut all the way
That
down.
was
to
the discussion that we had the last time, because
Yep.
we had the same kind of debate here, and the idea was Well, then we could jack up the transient merchant permit
Why
fee
didn't
so
you-
high that it would discourage that.
Cause I remember Steve going through all this and
I would
putting
have to
that
go
all
back.
out there and I
seem to
thought
remember
it was
it was raised,
taken care of.
no,
And then
We
we're
looked at it.
with the proposed changes.
that's on me for not checking it before I voted on it.
Well, there was no proposed change to the transient merchant fee. Okay.
Which I can't believe I didn't catch that, because that was the whole reason I had
Yeah.
a tantrum about it.
Fireworks lady, come on.
So he said he called a couple of places and we were really cheap,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Well, why don't we just vote on it, whatever, I mean, it's not that big a thing for me, I just am standing on the principle that I wish to advance, and if we vote to pass it, that's fine.
Well, coincidentally,
I'll go
Anna, you
buy
are
a
the
bunch
new
of them since I
legislative
possess
committee
them now.
chairperson, so if you want to,
Well, check with Steve and figure out what this was, cause I don't know much about this.
well, this will be in the minutes of the meeting.
Yeah, actually, she's running, Nicole's running to get it.
Oh, okay.
The fee
So
schedule.
that's more, we took care of this, but
All right,
Yeah.
well, let's vote on this and then we can, make a decision at a later time if we want to make and try to implement further changes.
Okay.
So all in favor of the transient merchant,
Do we have a second?
or, oh yeah, we don't even have a motion. No.
Yeah, I made a motion to deny.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so we have. a
So I
motion.
make a motion to deny the transient merchant application to Chris Ratz regarding the fireworks sales, seconded by Anna.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny and a second. All those in favor,
I,
all those opposed?
No, I'm
nay.
in favor of opposing,
Okay, so three opposed and,
to deny,
and
I'm in favor of denying.
So 3 and 4.
all right, motion does not carry,
Nope.
so I guess that means that by default it's approved.
No, we have to have a motion to approve.
Oh, okay.
I make motion to approve this transient license.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion again? All those in favor? Any opposed?
maybe,
Me,
Motion carries forward.
Can I make a comment after?
Sure.
As far as the legal fireworks use, I believe that should be a minimum of a disorderly conduct, which is like $4.95, I believe.
Yeah.
You get one of them, that changes your mindset real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we got a lot of these.
yeah, we got a lot of items here. So I would, so that's where we should. Yeah, we'll put it on the to-do list for reconsideration on how we handle those for now. Yeah, so. Item 12, discussion and possible action on the approval of combination Class B retail licenses for the period of July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 for the following. Scott Burkholz of Daubers, 20202 West Good Hope Road, Michael Monticelli of Nibs and Bibs, 7300 North Landing Road, Christopher Wright of 1229 19967 West Main Street, and Justin Kale of Just Smoked and Barbecue, 20316 West Main Street.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion?
Chief, are you okay with all of that?
Yes, they all passed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. Yes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion of possible action on approval of a combination Class A retail license to Narendra Patel of Atlanta BP and Quick Mart 20093 West Main Street for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025.
This is a new one. That's the,
Well, it's a renewal because they.
I know,
their
just
new-
recently, but this.
Yeah, their new one was approved last month.
Yeah, okay, and that was, Chief had checked that one out, okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion?
I abstain from this. vote.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. Item 14, discussion and possible action on the approval of Class B licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following: Milwaukee Beavers baseball team at James Park, Landon Road, the Pink Flamingo Studio and Boutique, 20316 West Main Street. These are all good too, Chief?
Yes, no.
I make a motion that we accept that.
second,
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, discussion possible action on the approval of non-alcoholic beverage licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following: Scott Burkholz at Daubers, Michael and Gina Monticelli at Mibs and Bibs, Chris Red at 1229, and Justin Kale of Just Smoking Barbecue.
Make a motion to approve.
For a second.
Motion and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, discussion and possible action on the approval of amusement device licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following: Scott Burkholz, Daubers, Michael and Gina Monticelli, Mibs and Bibs.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, discussion and possible action on the approval of cigarette licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following: Narendra Patel of Lennon BP and Quick Mart, and Niveen Lulu of Lux Vape.
We are. Here's your big.
I make a motion that the cigarette license be approved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
second,
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I abstain.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. Item number 18, discussion and possible action on the approval of operators licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following: Daniel Burkholz, Daubers, Lisa Stovekin, Daubers, Leanne Pomeroy, Daubers, Justin Kale, Just Smoking, Terry Cole.
Dale, sorry.
Kale, yeah, please, you can correct that one. Just Smoking Barbecue, Tracy Rash, Mibs and Bibs, Christopher Wright, 1229, Lydia Baz, 1229, Ariel Gelden, 1229, Gabrielle Tomlin, 1229, and Cecilia Bird with who?
I don't know, there's Cecilia Berg, Skylar Bone. Courtney Williams was also.
Oh, yeah, there's a few more here.
Yeah.
Optimist, Skylar Ball.
They did to all states, and then there was also a few more that were on your desk today that we had received on Friday for, land VP.
And we don't have anything for Henny's.
No. Applications were not turned in.
Again,
That was last year too.
yeah.
We're not able to act on them because she has outstanding liquor, bills, so
Yeah,
even if she did turn them in. we
Okay.
couldn't Do anything with that.
all right. Well, they shut them down. July 1st.
And I believe operators license do not need to be tied to,
Correct. It's
you can have like, in
municipal
Oconomowoc, I'm licensed because I work at a couple different
Correct,
venues.
and you can work at different establishments throughout the village here. Next year, they're actually gonna do statewide licenses.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice. All right, well, with Chief's permission, I would like to make a motion to approve the operators licenses as presented on the agenda.
We have a motion to approve the operator's licenses.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I abstain.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with one abstention. Item 19, discussion of possible action on the approval of used auto dealer licenses for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025 to the following. Alan and Debbie Schlafer of Schlafer Auto Sales Inc., David and Lori Bogie of Bogie Enterprises, Mohammed Khalid of Luxury Auto, and Meritak, Slamanov of Landon Motors.
We call him Mark.
Landon Motors.
Mhm. I make a motion, that we approve the used auto dealer licenses for the, list on the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good to have you back, Tina. Item 20, discussion of possible action for a temporary Class B for the Optimist Club of SLLB.
We did actually not receive this application yet, but they do still have another month to get that approved in July.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to table.
Or can we make a motion contingent on receipt of the application? Because that's July. Oh, I guess we'll have
End
time.
of July.
We'll have a meeting by then.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to table item number 20.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor to table?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, discussion of possible action on approval of resolution for CMAR report on Lannon's behalf for 2024.
This is one of those that is due every, by the end of June every year. Information received from the sewer contractors, et cetera.
That's really a discharge. For it. So,
Would entertain the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the CMARs as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution for the CMAR report on Lannon's behalf. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and consideration of the status of the finalization of the documentation needed and then the taking of final action if needed for the condominium project commonly known as Stonewood Trail PUD, including but not limited to corrections if any with regard to the documentation approving the TID grant, MRO, the community agreement, and or any updated exhibits of same.
Do that in English?
So this was a precautionary item that Hector and I chose to add in the event that we felt we needed additional board action for any reason on this. I did reach out to Phil. He was going to reach out to Hush Blackwell. I did not appear to have a response to that. So the only real concern that I think Hector and I still have at this point, I think everything else is at least in well, there's two items that were presenting some concern. One item is some language in the declarations that we have been told is in the process of being revised to include some language that regarding contributions to a reserve account or things of that nature that puts responsibility on the developer to make sure that things are getting taken care of. We've been assured that that's going to happen, but we have not seen the specific language yet. But it is forthcoming. The second item was the MRO resolution that we had previously approved. From Hush Blackwell had erroneously listed the entity as Stonewood LLC rather than Stonewood Trail LLC, which is the actual legal name of the entity. Our hope is that we can do a simple amendment to that resolution and and move forward, but.
This is a hyper-technical issue, but over a number of years, a certain amount of, tax revenue is gonna be paid to the holder of that mandatory, revenue obligation. I recommend take two, steps. First, you have a motion to retroactively amend the name of the entity that is the beneficiary of the MRO from Stonewood LLC to Stonewood Trade. That's the motion. LLC.
Yeah, it is an
Stonewood
LLC.
Trail LLC, yes.
I'll make a motion to do what Hector said.
You can't ever go wrong with that.
Yeah. You got that, Brenda? Retroactively amend the beneficiary of the MRO.
Watch the video.
Good note taker.
I'm,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Then the second motion should be to authorize the village president and the clerk to sign the PUD agreement on receiving confirmation from me that the condominium declaration has been amended to provide adequate means of providing for the maintenance of that complex until there is a turnover of control from the developer to the owners of the condo complex.
now you're asking a little bit much.
That was that, man, you'd be.
Let me take a swing at that.
got it.
You
I
got it?
make a motion to authorize the village president and the clerk to execute the PUD agreement contingent upon receiving confirmation from village council that the condo declaration has been amended to provide for maintenance of the condo prior to handover of the HUD to HOA, LMNOP.
That's pretty darn close.
Pretty good.
It's
Well done.
now it's in the game.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. You want to second that one?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. They're chomping at the bit to pull permits and get going, so thank you. Item 23, discussion of possible action on referendum ideas. Oh, boy. So, yep, so this one was in my lap, and I have gone back and forth and tried to figure out, I've talked about two different referendums. Now I'm really kind of back to the idea of limiting this to a single referendum. I think we can accomplish what we're hoping to do in a single referendum. What I'm stuck on, quite honestly, is how to come up with a reasonable methodology or calculation that is going to take care of the needs. If approved, would take care of our needs as we see them immediately. And into the future, while allowing to keep pace with labor costs. For contract costs associated with our fire contract with Village of Menominee Falls. So Tina, I don't know how much of this you've been in. Don, you've been, you know some of the background to this, obviously, from your past experience, but we pay a very, very significant amount. Well, the numbers as I ran them, 2024 levy was roughly 616,000. Now, we have other revenue sources, but that was our levy amount. Our police department's budget for 2024 was round numbers, $225,000. Contract with Village of Menominee Falls, the cost of which we have no control over by. They simply tell us what it's gonna be each year. It was $369,000 for 2024. So of our $616,000 that we levy, we're gonna spend $584,000 for public safety. So that does not leave a lot in the bucket to do much of anything else.
Yeah.
So we've been using fund balance, we've been dealing with shortfalls, we've been playing, shell games, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. That was the whole idea behind the idea of a public safety referendum. I've looked at a few other ones. Germantown just did one recently. I'm gonna need a lot of help from Hector on this. But I'd like to get a gauge, well, first of all, see if anybody has any brilliant ideas on a calculation method. Or if we simply ask for a number, or if we look at what we think is an acceptable number per 100,000 of assessed value. So for example, the Germantown referendum, public safety referendum, translated to about $51 per 100,000 of assessed value. Very specific in nature. You can look at all the different, percentage increases and what it equates to and everything, but for public safety, for fire and police, staffing primarily.
There's specific language from the state. that we
Yes.
gotta do, right?
Yes. And their language is very specific in nature as to what that money is being used for, and the number of officers required people, and it's all spelled out in pretty decent detail without getting too verbose.
You can't say, order of the budget.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. I was trying to look at that,
Budget goes, order goes.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was going down that road.
Yeah.
My guess is that's gonna be somewhere in that $50 to $60 per $100,000 range.
This is ongoing now, right? It's not one time.
This is ongoing. And I think the reason that I like that same methodology, and the reason I got there, Jerry, is it's of a budgeted amount.
Right.
And it will move with
Yes.
the needs of cost of living increases, wage increases, whatever. But if we're looking at a number like that, I want to get some feedback from the board on how you think you feel about a number like that.
Well, my house is assessed at 300,000, so $60 per 100,000.
Yep, so $180 a year extra.
I am supportive of this action. I think we have to do this after sitting through just one budget meeting, or just one round of budget meetings. I think we have to. I will point out that I believe, after thinking about this, that there will always be people who are against a tax increase of any type for any reason, and you're never gonna reach them. And then I think it's very important that if we do this, that we make sure that we have some personal investment and possibly monetary investment in a campaign to sell it to the village. Public meetings are easy and cheap. That just takes our commitment to do it. Maybe a mailing, adding it to the website. I think you really have to sell this. And because it's a referendum, people vote on it and democracy wins. So I think, we should do it. I would defer to the method because you've obviously put a lot more time and research into it. So, percentage of the budget sounds like a good way to go. And then just make sure that we all are in on selling it. If we all agree that we should be doing this. And you're always gonna have people who will say no new taxes for any reason whatsoever, but I think the majority of Lannon. You know, as I said, I moved here from a municipality where I had less services and way higher taxes. So as far as I'm concerned, if it helps Lannon, I would be for that as a voter. I'm for it as a trustee. And we do have to sell it though.
For November.
That's the intent, and quite honestly, we're
Yeah.
kind of behind.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be published like 90 days before
70, yeah.
election or something. 70.
I was just asked for the August if we were having a referendum, which we're behind for that, but for November, we're cutting it close.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, when
we're
Hamilton
not
was getting
behind the
ready to
ones.
do their referendum, I mean, they were 18 months out, they were campaigning and
But
communicating with the community.
I was on the board for that for 3 years, and we were shut down twice. Once by the district as collectively as a whole, and once just as a committee, because it was too soon. The problem we ran into was the fact that with mailings, they're great for public announcements, but no one uses it. They toss it right in the trash. Most of them didn't even read it. Out of a response from 1,700 mailings, we got 258 at our final vote. That's a huge cost of money for bottom line for no response. And that was for our children. I mean, the future of our village. So that would be my only concern, is that I think we need to find a better way than mailings.
So
Yeah.
if the referendum fails, is that it? Or do you throw it out there again? I mean, that's where I would say maybe we want to even go beyond November then to make sure it passes. Because if it fails, can you bring it back up?
So here's the problem with this. Yes, you can. They're much harder to get passed
Yeah,
after a failure.
okay.
Certainly without modification. So typically what happens traditionally is they start trimming it, right? And cutting it back to try to, okay, well, will you vote for this? Well, how about this, right? The other thing to consider is that we do our budgeting in our workshops in like October, right? October-ish.
Yeah, budget referendums will be passed by November because of the tax bills.
Right, so if we want this to be in effect for next year, and to get it onto the upcoming budget. That's why we gotta do it in November.
Does the state have to approve our language before it goes ahead, or do you?
No, they don't, but the Department of Revenue has in certain instances informally assisted in reviewing the language. They did that recently with the Western Fire District. The referendum, which out of 7 voting communities, only 2 approved.
Yeah,
It-
that's
it-
always a touchy elephant.
Now, my thought is that it would be 25% of the public safety budget. I don't know if you were thinking
Yeah,
differently,
yeah,
but
no,
I was
yeah.
gonna limit it to
Yeah,
the budgeted amount.
I think we have to be just public safety and police and fire, just for the selling it, you know, that's.
And put the dollar amount out there, what we're paying the nominee for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The thing is, the biggest chunk is the nominee for,
yeah.
that's killing us.
Now, I know that Dr. Milky went to several communities around the area. I went to one at Overstone. He came and saw, there was a informal meeting with Dr. Milky at our clubhouse for residents to come and get informed about the referendums and ask questions and things like that. So I would anticipate that we would want to do something like that. I think we could do it at 12:29 to have a nicer public forum. I've spoken to Chris about that already. He would be willing to let us do that on a weeknight. So that would be, but it might take more than one.
I was just gonna say, though, what's the theory, sooner or later, I would think we'd wanna be closer to the election, so it stays fresh.
Yes, I would agree.
I think we need to start now. It's a long process.
Oh,
We
no,
have a lot
that's
of
done.
points you need to convince.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we can start sharing some stuff out there, and obviously the easy method is maybe we get something up on our website, do the civic alert thing, do Facebook, social media channels, word of mouth. Start getting people to look at this, start getting people to see it and encourage feedback.
What are you gonna say, why? Why do we have to do this?
Or.
Why?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
big,
if I remember correctly, as the budget was in it, someone brought it up, but I don't remember who it was, but it has been brought up on Facebook that several people throughout the village want to see more police presence.
Oh, we had that for years.
And so,
Yes.
and that's a constant thing, so that's part of public safety.
Right.
And that could be one of the aspects of it. But once you throw that referendum out there, now, do we make that binding or do we make that advisory?
no, it's fine.
Binding,
That's
I mean,
Yeah.
This would be a binding
okay,
referendum,
That's why the
and
state,
that's fine.
and it would be,
And I'm fine with that, because I'm a property owner too, I don't have a problem with my taxes going up, knowing that there'll be more services covered.
would we have to state something about more police, more staffing? Have to get very specific about it, or can we say the 25% of the budget?
Well, first of all, remember what has prompted this. The state legislature, in an effort to provide communities with property tax relief, has set forth a levy limit provision that you can't increase your budget more than your net new construction. So in other words, stay within what you can afford. However, there's a safety valve, and the safety valve is the holding of a referendum. There are two kinds of referendum that can be held. One, a one-shot referendum for the following year. Or two, a continuing modification. Given the cost of public safety services, you had the fire chief from Menominee Falls here last week. It's highly unlikely that there's going to be any reductions, perhaps not even a leveling off of costs in that regard. Now, the problem that you as a governmental body have, any governmental body going out for referendum has, is that you can't be an advocate. You can only state facts. And it's a thin line, but it certainly manifests itself in terms of the kind of budget that you can allocate for the referendum process. So you should have an organized message and basically a script that everyone agrees is actually driven. And the sooner you start, the better off you are in that process.
Hector, what about these ones that are be it two-part, where we would say increase it to 30% or increase it 15% and hope to get at least partial bite at the apple, rather than rejecting the whole thing? Or is that unwise to spread it out?
I am not really qualified to give an opinion in that regard. I think human nature is such that presently we're going to be voting at a time, I'm assuming in November, when individuals, and this is my personal opinion, for better or for worse, will be influenced in their vote for the presidential candidate in part by their own perception of their economic situation. That's going to hit home. And so you would have to evaluate how you can somehow avoid a reaction against that situation with regards to the request for an increase in the budget to provide adequate public safety services. And that's really what it comes down to.
Was that for David Copperfield answer?
She likes an attorney.
One thing that the first budget meeting I was in, I was extremely disappointed to find out that our police department was the lowest paid department in the county. In that, I think previous to my time on board with the Saywall project and Martin Bird, I don't think the board really thought of you're adding 35 to 50% more bodies and increasing the value in the village. I don't think too many people really looked at what did we have to increase with our police department, because chief, how many hours, a guesstimate, how many hours are you budgeted for today versus when you first came on? I mean, has your budget for hours increased at the same rate of number of residents has increased?
No, it's increased, but not that much.
So I will tell you, Don, that I did, in fact, speak to Chief Porter at the time and to Chief Anna Rosinski at the time, who was the public safety person. She was in charge of both departments, technically over in Menominee Falls, because that was one of the big concerns about approving the apartment project, was the added burden to public safety needs and services. And they both emphatically communicated to me that it would have very little impact.
Which has not proven to be true.
Well, certainly there are some calls there, but it's not, I don't think, disproportionately higher.
Now you put current inflation on it,
But-
which nobody was talking about then either.
Right. So I'm just pointing out that I thought of it, and I did ask the question, and it was a topic of discussion at certain meetings, but it's hard to quantify it, right? Especially when you're just.
Your crystal ball
When you-
wasn't clear.
No, when you're projecting, that's what it is, it's a projection.
Yeah.
So,
You can't, I don't know how anybody in this village feels. I know we are probably in the bottom 3 in hourly pay for our officers, which I think is kind of an insult. And definitely it's gonna make it harder to hire and retain.
yes.
I mean,
That's why we
we-
wanna do this.
Yeah,
We're
so
not-
this is factual information. But we have to make sure what we put out there is not offensive to our police department or embarrassing for them. And I think if we can put together 20 years ago, 1,000 residents, when Ron was fire chief, this is what our cost was. Now we have 2,000 residents and 20 years of inflation. And I remember Ron bringing up what the last budget was when he was chief. And that, an ambulance today is probably $250,000. A truck is $750,000 or a mill of a ladder.
Town of Brownsville just picked up a brand new ladder for $750,000, unfurnished.
So it's equipment, and now it's no longer a volunteer. And as far as the service, when my wife fell and got hurt, they should have made a training video. And I'm a former volunteer and former first responder. And I just shut my mouth and got out of the way. Their service is excellent, which I think we need in our village. And we're gonna have to work hard to get this passed, because when we get a good officer, we need to keep them. And we need to take care of them, and I think, I don't know, what's your budget, chief, $400 or $500 over all your officers for personal allowance
For uniforms, for
for the department? So it's, you know, we gotta, do we wanna have two cops in our village, or do we wanna have?
That's not a discussion, Don. We know what we got.
We know we need
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So I think the point you're trying to make is that there are a lot of reasons why we need to do this, right?
But as Hector said, we have to. That's not, what was the word you used, Hector?
Endorse it.
Yeah, advocate, promote, yeah.
So we're gonna have to be careful of the language.
I mean, 25%.
Has to go up. There's no questions about it.
That would be done, yeah. So that's what we're telling people is we want 150 grand,
Well, so,
because I thought that's still,
right,
I don't think you wanna go towards 200.
right. So the idea, most of the public information that I'm seeing is there's generally a table that shows you, you know, looking at this year and, you know, cause mill rates and all the assessments and everything changes every year. But looking at this year, cause that's relatable to people. Here's what this would translate to in terms of a tax liability. Per 100,000. So, you know, my rough calculations, and I can get more specific ones, was, you know, if we're looking at a public safety budget of 584,000, 25% of that is basically 146,000.
Yeah.
Which I believe is going to translate to in the low $60s, $60 to $65 per 100,000.
Do you think people look at that number or look at the total number more?
They look at
Present it
what's
to
gonna
them.
affect them individually.
Right. I think they generally tend to present it as the per 100,000 because it doesn't look as scary.
Right, I agree, we're talking
Plus,
about sales now.
Value's different.
How do you sell a piece of equipment? It costs you $5 a week to improve your police and fire presence.
Yeah, right. Yep. So I will continue to work then with Hector and the police chief. I did ask the chief for a wish list for one-time asset type purchase, things that we would anticipate spreading out over a 3-year purchase cycle, and staffing, hourly needs, equipment needs, training, things of that nature. So I'll continue to work with those folks and try to get this refined down and get back to you with something solid for the July meeting that I think we can accomplish that, don't you think? Hector?
Sure.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right. So no action needed there.
Okay, we had the discussion.
Yep. Item 24, discussion of possible action on payment of the bills. Anything out of the ordinary here, Brenda, that we need to review?
The ECT payment I have in there for the additional.
Yep.
TIP money,
That is an occupancy incentive payment.
yeah. No, nothing really out of the ordinary.
The painter guys, that's for Village Hall.
Yeah, so that's a down payment that
Yeah.
Colleen had requested for the village hall. Fee.
Yeah, that's 30% of the paint, to get on their schedule. The baseball diamond restrooms, that's the porta
That's the
potties.
porta john.
That's the porta potties.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills as presented.
We have a motion, a second to pay the bills as presented. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Engineers report, there's no engineers report this evening. Item 26, attorneys report.
Nothing other than comments in the closed session.
Item number 27, president's report, which may include an update of the steps taken to initiate within the village of Landon the services of municipal code enforcement. So, the idea behind, including this on the agenda was, I think, to present the first kind of public announcement that, the village has, contracted with a company called Municipal Code Enforcement. They are, as their name clearly states, a municipal code enforcement company, specialist. They go into communities and offer a la carte services for not only municipal code enforcement activities, you can have them do other things like zoning work and things of that nature. We had a core group of some folks from the planning commission, our village attorneys, our police chief, our building inspector. We had actually been working for some time on trying to formulate a process for this very procedure. I had received an email from this company, just a random solicitation, and I brought them in for a meeting, and we were very impressed with their presentation, with their awareness and understanding of kind of what communities like ours need. It was appealing to us, the idea of having a independent, third-party, unbiased agency, if you will, performing these tasks to allay any inference of selective enforcement or anything like that. And their cost was extremely reasonable. So the village did execute this contract. We did have a kickoff meeting last Friday with some of the stakeholders, if you will, that will be leading up some of the enforcement actions. We're working on some public outreach items to make the community aware that we are going to start enforcing our codes and our ordinances in terms of, in the interest of public health and safety primarily, first and foremost, and also aesthetics. So those are the two primary focuses. And once we start doing some of those public outreach efforts, shortly thereafter, we expect those enforcement activities to start happening. So we will continue to refine the process in terms of authority. As Mr. Newman has pointed out, there are some things in our ordinances that grant the public works chair authority, some things that grant the village building inspector authority. So we've got some logistics and some clarifications to make going forward. But we did feel that it was important that there's at least some public outreach. This is not going to be a deal where all of a sudden people are gonna get, notices of fines nailed to their doors and stuff. There's a process to this. It's a very pretty standard process, but it'll all be done within the guidelines of our ordinances. So just want to give you that update. You think that's an adequate summation? All right, item number 28, may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub E to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public properties, investing public funds, or conducting other specified public business, namely to consider the status on the sale of a village-owned lot located on West Good Hope Road, LANB 00734520003, an associated maintenance agreement whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. So I would entertain a motion to enter into closed session from the remaining trustees that have opted to stay here.
I will make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'm sorry.
Second,
Vote on each one.
yeah,
One by one.
we'll do a roll call vote
Yeah.
for each one, but if we don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Roll call.
Like,
Yes.
Tola Robbie,
Yes.
sorry, Newman.
Yeah.
I wrote it down wrong. Yates,
Yes.
Moore, yes, Grenier,
Yes.
Summers,
Pending.
and Tate. Okay.
We're still waiting for a vote. Oh. Got this. They're trying to run away with my character.
Chop chop.
Yeah.
It's 9:00.
Not a problem.
I feel like that.
Yeah. Is the owl shut down?
No, not until we go into closed session. It's simple to get these sounds.
Trace, I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be here with us tonight. I'm also glad that you're sitting way over there,
Hopefully the Ben Wood will.
right?
This fine.
Yeah.
He's sick.
No, Trace has been sick. Ben just, I don't think Ben had any pertinent business, so I think.
No sense paying an hourly rate for this.
Summers,
How do you
Just
vote to
roll
go
call
into?
vote to go into closed session. Do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 29, may convene into a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851G. For the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation which it is likely to become involved in with respect to the unpaid water bill for the property of the village of Lannon, more commonly known as Lannon Estates, located at approximately 20179 Westfield Hope Road, Lannon, Wisconsin, 53046. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session?
So moved. And seconded.
And seconded, roll call vote.
Lake, yes.
Tola Robbie, yeah.
Newman,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Moore, yes, Grenier,
Yes.
Summers. Just trying to get my notes right.
Sorry.
Motion approved. Item
Right
30.
here on the sign.
Yeah. Item 30 is may convene into a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851G for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation which is likely to become involved in with respect to a failure of certain properties connected to available municipal water service and available land by the commencement of enforcement action seeking the imposition of fines and or injunctions compelling that connection.
Woo, I make a motion that we go into closed session.
I'll second. Motion and seconded, roll call vote.
Blake,
Yes. Yes.
Tola Robbie, Newman,
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Moore, yes, Grenier.
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Passed.
Should turn an auctioneer.
Turn it down.
That's an open session, and I don't believe that we have any items that we're taking any public action on. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? She carries. We are adjourned.
We beat the last time.
Barely.
Yeah. Thank you all.